Welcome to the Inside Lane, a four-screen series where we explore the future of connected mobility. On today's show, we're diving into the exciting world of Adtech in the in-car marketing space. And joining us to discuss this topic is Fourscreen's very own head of sales North America, Jeff Kohl. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. This is my first podcast ever, so looking forward to it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Excellent. Wonderful. And we recently were actually met in person for the first time all the way in Munich, which is pretty exciting too.
Yeah. It was definitely it was a good trip for me and a lot of fun to explore Munich in Germany.
And ever since then, I constantly get you on camera. So this is probably the last time for a while that I convince you to join me digitally or in person on camera. I promise.
Always happy to help.
Jeff, let's start by just hearing a little bit about your role at Fourscreen as the head of sales North America.
Yeah, really, it's my role to lead the charge of Fourscreen's launch in the US. Our team is really focused on working with advertisers and advertising agencies to highlight the benefit and uniqueness of in-car advertising, and especially in-car advertising with Fourscreen. Our team also partners very closely with our OEM or automotive suppliers to make sure that the advertising that we're putting in front of drivers is very focused on adding driver value, right? And so really at the end of the day, if your goal is to make your brand and your locations more visible to drivers in an in-car setting, it's my job to make that happen. And I'm sure we'll dive into quite a bit more of that as this goes on. But that's my role in a nutshell.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. And then before Fourscreen, what was your professional background that basically led you to your current role here?
Yeah, so before joining Fourscreen, I was at Google for a little over 13 years, which seems like a very long time. But I was always working in sales and digital advertising sales roles. So really the first part of my career was a lot of Google search and YouTube and display network and things like that. But in the second half of my career at Google, I would say the last 7 or 8 years that I was there, I switched over and I started working on Waze ads. So Waze being a navigation application focused on getting drivers to where they want to go quickly. It was my role to help build that ad experience and work with customers to make sure that we could do an effective job of displaying advertisements in a mapping setting. So I'm bringing a lot of that experience to Fourscreen. We're doing some things similar, but we're doing a lot of things differently. And I'm excited to work with our customers and be able to show them what the possibilities and capabilities are once you're truly connected to that vehicle like Fourscreen is with OEM partners.
Great. Yeah, it actually sounds like a natural evolution to start basically Google ad tech, going into the more navigational ad tech space, and then eventually leading to Fourscreen itself. Is that kind of evolution what initially attracted you to working at Fourscreen?
Yeah, I think it was. I think there's an element of there were a lot of cool and unique things that we were able to do at Waze and at Waze ads, but there was always this element of, what could we do if we were connected to the vehicle, if we knew the type of vehicle that was being driven? How could advertising become more effective and more meaningful and more relevant to the user when you were able to tie in some of those signals? So when I started talking to Fourscreen and interviewing with the leadership team there, it was a lot about, hey, this is where we're at right now, and this is the future and evolution of what we can do with in-car marketing. And I think for all the reasons that Fourscreen is different than what Waze ads was able to do, it really got me excited to be part of that evolution, to be part of that transformation, and see how we could do something similar, but then adapt and use the signals and the partnerships and what we have available in the car for the future. So that's really what made me interested in Fourscreen, and it's been great so far. And just starting to scratch the surface on a lot of those things and see that evolution.
Excellent. Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of companies, people, roles that actually kind of get confused with advertising, sales, and marketing. Whereas I always feel on the marketing space, like if you can add value, if you could deliver magical, memorable experiences, that should be part of the messaging. And the message should also be kind of part of the service as well. I
Yep.
think with Fourscreen and in-car marketing, it's important that we get across like the value added benefits that come with it. And as you say, maybe separate to other channels because it uses and utilizes a lot of the data from the car itself.
Yep.
It really can maximize the potential for delivering that value. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess that leads into the next question, which is for a layman's person or someone who doesn't actually understand the specifics of in-car marketing, would you be able to basically describe it to us? Say it's somebody who is a business who's looking for a new, unique channel to connect with their customers, and they hear about in-car marketing, just the term, and they ask, what is it? So what exactly is
Yeah.
in-car marketing?
Yeah, I'll try and do my best, right? And try and make it as clear as possible without talking for too long. But I think one of the first things to really understand and to know about in-car marketing, for in-car marketing to work, you need to be able to get your messaging into the car, right? And that is really no easy feat. And at Fourscreen, we have a partnerships team dedicated to working with automotive partners to really build our access into the vehicle and be able to speak to drivers. So I'm not going to talk a lot about what that team does, but they're a great team and they're an amazing team that are working with our partners to make that a reality. And once you're in the car, right, and once you have the ability to display brand messaging and to engage with drivers, really in-car marketing is all about in what ways can you influence a driver to take an action, right? And there's a lot of different ad formats and a lot of different ways in which you can do that, but it's a very unique space because it's digital. There is some tracking ability involved or performance abilities that we will be able to have once an ad is displayed. But really, it is being able to put your message in the car to influence drivers to take an action that they maybe weren't planning to take, right? And over time, you see that impact and you see that in-car marketing can work really effectively with other parts or other advertising solutions that you have.
That's great. And also, if people are interested in the mechanics behind how it's installed, our first episode was with Zava Muller from Fourscreen, and he's more from the OEM side. So he breaks down how we integrate into the vehicles and what that process is like. So you can check out episode 1 on our YouTube channel. But yeah, so we got that other side covered. This is excellent. So in terms of in-car marketing, we have a couple of different ad formats that businesses can avail of. Would you be able to kind of break down what they are and what makes them unique, and then also how they actually benefit the end user or the driver?
Yeah. I'm going to actually talk about the driver and the audience first, and then once you have a
Okay.
clear view of the audience, we can dive into okay, how do you talk to that audience? But I think
Okay.
one of the really interesting things is that our platform only talks to drivers, right? And that is a very, very unique audience. It may not seem like it, but what we know is that they're out of their house and on the move, right? There's no Netflix, there's no social media, there's no scrolling the internet. Drivers are supposed to be focused, and we want to talk to them and engage with them while they are focused and while they are working to complete different tasks, right? Some may be going to the gym or picking up groceries or dropping their kids or picking the kids up from school or camp, right? So in those moments, we want to be able to talk to that audience, which is a driver, which is already very, very, very hard to segment down to in most advertising channels, and then impact them, make their day easier, make them understand the things that they have around them that they can engage with that might be meaningful on their trip, right? So there's a lot of different variables and a lot of different ways drivers engage and behave, but we're trying to work within the scope of how do you make their life easier? How do you bring new information and content to them? And then that kind of leads into diving a little bit deeper into the ad units that we have right now. Make sense?
Excellent. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely.
Cool.
So yeah, then what exactly would those ad formats be, and how do they actually add value?
Yeah. So we have what's called a branded pin. And the branded pin, the easiest way that I would put it is it's basically being able to put a big store sign on the navigation system of a vehicle, right? And now there's a lot of reasons that a digital store sign on a navigation system is a lot more rich and effective than maybe just a store sign in front of the location that you have. First off, if you're a few blocks away, it's visible. If it's not necessarily right along your path, we can make that store or brand visible while someone's driving in near proximity, but wouldn't be able to see it. And then also, it's clickable and you can engage with it, right? So when you actually click that store sign in the navigation system, you click that branded pin, it brings up a lot of information. It brings up information around the store hours. It brings up information around what the services at that location are. And then most importantly, for advertisers, you really have this large promotion space to say, here's what's going on at my store. Here is the current offer that we are pushing or focused on, or the loyalty messaging that we want to show. And then lastly, with a branded pin, it can be changed within an hour, right? It would take a long time to replace all your store signs as physical elements, right? But when you are working in our space and working with our branded pins, if you want to have a logo that is more seasonally focused or appears in different colors, or you would like to test a different logo with customers, we can pretty much do that with a flip of a switch. And we can also easily update the creatives and the offers you have. So that is a branded pin. It's simple when you look at it from a driver's perspective. It's very complex in terms of all the things you can do with it as a marketer or advertiser.
That's great. Also, there's lots of opportunity with that, where let's say we just had the Euro Cup on, and if a brand wanted to actually incorporate those kind of mega events into their branding, especially on their logo, I can imagine there's some that would take a football and kind of convert their logo onto a football. They actually have that kind of opportunity on the car screen for the first time.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and I think that's something we look for at Fourscreen is really bring your creative ideas to us, and we will see if we can execute them. Right now, we'll come up with some of our own creative ideas as well, but they may not always be exactly in line with the brand messaging. But I think that's an element here is the in-car advertising space is relatively new. There's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot of ways we can get unique and sophisticated campaigns on our platform. I don't want to forget about the other ad format that we have, which is promoted search, right? So I think a lot of people are relatively familiar with search and the power that search has, right? I think when it comes to Fourscreen, we work with our automotive partners to make sure that when someone is searching for a category like fuel or coffee or restaurant, if you're an advertiser on our platform and you're a relevant search result, we like to move you up, put you front and center in the considerations set for that customer. And then as you click on that search, there's also the opportunity to share promotional information, very similar to what we have with the pin, right? So not only are we changing the search positioning and trying to bring our brands front and center, we're doing that because when that search is clicked, there's more information on offer information, on store hours, details about the location. And I think that is making search more powerful for our advertisers, but making it more relevant for our drivers as well. And those are really the two ad units that we're running today in the US. I'm excited kind of about the future growth and partnerships and how we expand on those ad units with our OEM partners. And we're already getting into discussions on that as well. So more to come from an advertising perspective in the near future.
That's great. And let's say I'm a business and I want to showcase my logo or a version of my logo on car screens, and I actually want to start ranking near the top of dedicated driver searches. Like, what are
Yep.
the steps that I can do to start building my campaign and getting on the road and on the map for drivers and nearby customers?
Yeah, I mean, step one is definitely reach out to us. And Chris, you'll have to let me know, but I think there will be plenty of opportunities to click a link or reach out or even share my email. But yeah, we want to hear from you. I think the first step is getting in touch with our team. What we really do from that point on is we go through maybe a little bit more of a detailed explanation of in-car marketing and how it might relate to your business and your goals and objectives. We then start a process of making sure we have all of the basics, right? Location-based advertising, we're going to need your locations and understand where they're at. Then we put a plan together with you. We make sure it's hitting your objectives, it's meeting the budget requirements you want, all those types of things in a standard advertising kind of ad buy way. And then we go live, right? And when we go live, it's a pretty smooth process. One of the things we really pride ourselves on is really trying to make our service as white glove as possible. We really want you to be able to give us the information we need, and we kind of take care of everything else from there. Then we provide screenshots, we share reporting. We really make sure throughout the course of that campaign that it's hitting the objectives that you're looking for. So it's a relatively easy process overall. It starts with talking to us, and it doesn't take that long to get on if that's what you're looking to do.
And beyond the promotional aspects of, say, your logo, your search, on the detail screen itself, they can actually put promotional banners and images there. But they can also update a lot of their service information as well, right? Like, I think that was one thing that I noticed that we didn't actually really communicate too much of, because we usually speak on the ad formats. But
Yeah.
when I started finding out that, like, in near real time, people can update a lot of different aspects of their location or their branch. I thought that was really fascinating, especially whenever I started inquiring about that. And then the OEM team would say that, generally speaking, on traditional car screens, it can take about 9 months to change that data. Sometimes it never changes. So the
Yep.
request will go in and then it just doesn't change. Like, what kind of data points or kind of information about the branch or business can be modified, updated, or added through Fourscreen?
Yeah, look, I think that that's a great point, and we didn't dive into it too much, but overall location management is a key benefit of our platform. That direct access to be able to change location information on the fly or on a recurring basis to make sure that not only your advertising is up to date and relevant, but that your locations that actually exist are there, whether you open a new store or potentially close a store, that you're not sending customers to a bad experience. So we handle that with the OEM partners we work with, and it's a huge benefit. And I think store hours can be changed relatively easily. You can list the different services you provide, whether it be restrooms or Wi-Fi or things like that. We can add that in, and then the promotional information. And I think there's a few more things, but at the end of the day, it's the representation of your store and of your brand that you want on the map in real time, right? So if for some reason elements change or locations change, or you need to make an update, you work directly with our team, and that's part of the services we provide.
Even things like Christmas or holiday opening hours, they can
Yep.
be modified for those specific time periods. Now, Google normally can do that kind of service, and you'll even see near the date itself or on the date that there might be different opening hours. But this is something that I think Fourscreen can also provide a benefit for as well. So I imagine in these special holiday times where people are usually in a rush because that's modern digital lifestyles that we all
Yep.
have, that you don't want to arrive at a location that on the car screen said was open, but it turns out it's closed because of the opening times. So it's just one of those other aspects that even from the marketing and the content side, we really actually want to showcase a bit more of that unique quality that can be provided through the car screen.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Adaptiveness and flexibility is what we try and push as much as possible.
Okay. And then kind of wrapping it up now, let's look at a little bit ahead. Is there what do you imagine are like the next steps in the evolution of in-car marketing? It might not even be something that's like around the corner as a new ad format. It might be something around the driver themselves and their behavior and where we perceive the the need for a more connected business communication experience. But where do you kind of see the next steps coming to, and maybe even how you can envision us planning to be the connected tissue between the drivers and the businesses on the road?
Yeah, with all advertising, right? I think it's about reaching the right audience at the right time with the right messaging. And I think as in-car marketing continues to evolve and continues to grow, we're going to see a lot that focuses on vehicle signals, vehicle type, historic driving behavior, and really then being able to get a pretty clear picture of the different audiences we have, and then being able to engage with them in new ways, right? And I think there's a lot of different possibilities when we actually talk about ad formats and the way that gets presented to a driver. But really, all of it is going to be focused around the contextual relevance of the vehicle, the relevance of the person being on the move, and how do you add benefit to that experience as an advertiser versus taking away from it or becoming distracting. And I think that's where our focus is at. And I just see signals, vehicle type, and driving behavior be more and more ingrained into our future ad units and our communication with drivers.
Excellent. Great. And as a final question, we might just kind of wrap it back up with your own personal experience with Fourscreen. Was there how was your time so far, or was there a specific moment or success story that you cherished or remembered from working in Fourscreen up until now?
Yeah, I think one, it's been a pleasure working for Fourscreen so far. I'm really excited about a lot of the experiences that I've had so far. But I think, what really stands out is launching a new platform in a new market, and a lot of times that can be somewhat stressful and challenging and demanding. But the thing I'm most proud of is we have our customers on our system now, showing ads in multiple formats on our partnerships with auto manufacturers on their maps, and we're starting to see the engagement from drivers. So it's more of a broad kind of what I'm proud of is we've taken something that didn't really exist in the market, and we're really starting to build it. And it's been an absolute pleasure working with the advertisers and the agencies we've been working with so far, and just getting to see their reaction, their feedback, things like that. And then obviously, you mentioned it earlier, I was in Germany with the team for the first time last week, and obviously just getting to see the internal culture, how the team operates, meeting a lot more people face to face. That was a lot of fun because I am a little bit separated from the home office in Germany, being in the US. So that was a great time.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and that's it. That's all the questions that I have, Jeff. Thank you so much for giving us your time today. I hope the listeners really enjoyed that experience. If they want to learn more about actually booking a campaign, they can visit our website, fourscreen.com, and you can book a meeting directly on the webpage there, or potentially they could reach out to you. Could you let us know what your email is? We could probably even add it into the description as well below.
Yeah, happy to provide my email. Please reach out to me if you're interested or would like to learn more about in-car marketing. My email is jeffrey.kohl at fourscreen.com. Like Chris said, it'll be below, but our team is happy to help, engage, and try and make sure we're meeting your advertising needs in a new and creative way in car.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. And so that's a wrap on today's episode. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe on YouTube and also share it on LinkedIn. If you want to learn more or keep up to date with Fourscreen's advancements and innovations, then why not follow us on LinkedIn or on Instagram at FourscreenHQ. All right. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us for today's episode. And for everybody else, I will see you next time for another episode of The Inside Lane. Thanks.